What's up guys, it's Coach Nick, and in this video we're going to cover the drop step. I'm literally going to hold your hand. I'm going to show you how to do this drop step. We're going to do it step by step. And before you leave this video, for some of you smaller guys out there who are like, you know what, I never need to learn the drop step, I promise you the drop step can not only be used in the post position, but on the perimeter as well. There's two players that come to my mind when I think of perimeter drop step. I think of Chris Jackson, also known as Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf. He used the drop step. It's kind of like a variation of the drop step on the perimeter very effectively. And then you also have a newer player, Zion Williamson, who also uses the drop step on the perimeter. And my hunch is that with Zion, he probably learned it down on the post as a big man and then realized that he could transition the footwork out to the perimeter and be very successful for it. So the way I'm going to break this video down is we're going to do it step by step. So we're going to do it without the ball. We're going to learn the footwork first. Then we'll learn the whole move. Then we'll use the ball. We'll bring the ball into play. Then I'll show you how I would set it up down to the post. And then I'm going to show you a few variations that I like from the drop step. And then from there, I'm going to share with you how we move it out to the perimeter. And at the final end of this video, I'm going to show you one kind of cool variation that I've never really seen anybody else use that I think maybe you can incorporate into your game. So without further ado, let's get into the drop step. So when it's all said and done, this is what our drop step is going to look like. We're going to be here, pop, I'm there, and I come in. And if you're a big guy, obviously you finish with a dunk. So let's get started with the footwork. And I'm going to face away from the camera so that you guys can follow along. So what we're going to do is we're going to step, and then we're going to step back. So we're going to cross with one foot, step back with our left, cross with our right foot, step back with our left, and we're always keeping our face towards our opponent because we want them to think we're going this way when really we're coming to spin this way. If I turn my head this way, then the fake goes that way. So with the drop step, I'm always looking towards my opponent. And as we step with this foot here, I want to make sure I'm on the ball of my foot. That way I can pivot like this. We're not flat-footed. This is a dynamic move, so we need to be on the ball of our foot. So we'll go here, 1, 2, boom, boom. 1, 2, boom, boom. Then we can kind of hop to it and get it quicker once we got our footwork down. Kind of hop to it. Good. And then we're going to switch sides. We'll go to our right side. Pop, pop. Boom, boom. Pop, pop. Boom, boom. And you can really reach with this foot. And sometimes with your drop step, you'll step more here. Other times you're going to step almost to the side and do it. It just kind of depends where our opponent is. So we're just sort of being loose. And we're getting this down. Once you feel like you have that down, then we're going to move and we're going to do this. Pop, pop, boom, boom. Come back to center and switch. Pop, 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 pop. And it's real important as you're learning this to get a bunch of exercises in. Trust me, this move is kind of tricky. When you're in a game and you got a big guy against you, you won't have to sit there and think about your footwork. You just want it to be second nature. So the only way you get it to second nature is by doing a ton of these reps. And even though I can do the drop step fairly well myself, I still will practice this footwork. All right, now we're going to finish up the footwork. So we're going to go 1, 2, pivot, boom, dunk. All right, so it's going to look like this. Pop, pop, boom. Pop, pop, boom. Pop, pop, boom. And we'll do the other side. It's pop, pop, boom. Pop, pop, boom. Pop, pop, boom. And then once you feel like you have it down on both sides, then we'll do the same thing. So we'll just do a bunch of reps like this. Then we switch. Boom, really making sure to keep our head looking towards the defender. All right, now we're gonna add the ball in. So it's real important when we do the drop step and we pull this over, when our foot crosses and we do this motion here, the same time that this foot crosses and hits the ground is the same time that I'm gonna do my power dribble, right? So if I were you and I was just starting out, I would honestly probably just do a bunch of these where I practice punching the ball, and I'm just punching it like this. I'm not using one hand, it's two hands like that. So I take two hands, pop, and just practice popping that ball. And get a bunch of these reps in, because it's kind of a weird movement. Trust me, it's kind of weird, especially when you add the ball, it's a little weird. I'll do a bunch of these pops, and you'll notice as my foot crosses, boom, the ball and my crossing foot are hitting at the same time. Now we can do the full move. So we're gonna come over here, pop, pivot, and boom. So bring the ball over, pop, pivot, boom. The reality is with the drop step, you don't have to bring the ball over, but for a lot of setups and for teaching, I think it's easier to learn it this way. So we'll check out our other side here. We're bringing it over, pop, come over. That power dribble, two dribbles, or two hands when we do that power dribble. Pop. All right, so we're just about to move to the full drop step. I'm gonna show you how I set it up in the post. I just wanna remind you guys, when you're learning this move, knock out a ton of repetitions. Because like I said, when you're in a game situation and you got the ball down low and somebody's banging up against you, you might not be in the right mindset to figure out the footwork. You just need to have it down pat to where it's all muscle memory and you're not having to think about it and you just get that ball and it's like, boom, you're there with your drop step without having to think. But that's only gonna come with a ton of practice. So please commit this move to memory is what I'm saying. All right, so now I'm gonna show you guys how I like to set up the drop step down low. There's a lot of different ways you can set it up, and obviously it's a lot different if you're a bigger guy, smaller guy, but I'm just gonna show you the way that's worked for me personally. Then I'll show you the way that I've seen Shaq do it, and then I'll show you a bunch of variations, all right? So I catch the ball here. As soon as I get the ball, I'm just gonna assume since we're in the paint that this dude's bodying me up, right? He's pushing me like this. So I'm gonna create some space. I'm gonna lean into him, boom, like this. And then I'm gonna pivot here. And as soon as I pivot, because I've created some space with this push off, he's thinking there's gonna be a shot. So he's gonna close the distance real quick. I'm gonna go like this, boom, and then we're gonna go straight into the drop step. So full speed, it might look something like this. I really like this setup, and this setup has worked tremendously more for me because after you push off and you go here, there is a potential you have a shot. So he's got to come up quick. When he comes up quick, then he freaks out thinking you're driving this way. So he overcompensates. And a lot of times after you spin, you've left him in the dust, he's behind you. So that variation has worked very well for me. And I've noticed too with the drop step, even if you're here and I come over like this, a lot of people overreact when you pull that ball, when you're here and you pull that ball there. It's kind of like out on the perimeter, right? If I'm here and I go boom like that, or if I just rip it over, a lot of times people will overreact and then move that way because I don't know what it is, something about coming this way. It's just a big movement. And a lot of times just doing something like this creates space. Same with down low. As I push here and I come here, he's overreacting and he's gonna be there and the spin moves right there. And of course, if you got a lot of weight on the guy, like if you've got 20 or 30 pounds on him and you're the biggest player on the court, you can do the Shaquille O'Neal drop step, which just looks like you're bouncing him here and then boom, you come in like that. So it's off the dribble. And I guess the main thing to pay attention to is that when we do the drop step and I come here with the ball or with my feet, the ball pounds as my feet spread and I come this way. So you're just pounding, 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 boom, and you come in. And then you'll notice too, a lot of times the guys, the bigger players, will use sort of a dirty elbow, and I do it too. I think everybody does it, it's just kind of natural, but as you spin here, this elbow kind of keeps this guy off of you. You use it to sort of smack him in the stomach, create a little space. Basketball's a dirty game, so I would definitely incorporate that elbow as we're popping here. Boom, there, and you go for the shot. So a few things about the drop step, like if you're very big and you go to do it like this, and we're here, and I go boom, the power comes from that rotation. As I'm spinning and I kick this foot back and I spin, if I'm a big guy, I'm creating a ton of space with that. Like Shaq, I don't know what he is, like 320 pounds or something. Can you imagine 320 pounds spinning into you? I mean, you're gonna be shooting across the room, right? So if you're a bigger guy, that power, boom, comes with that spin. You create a lot of space with that. If you're someone smaller like me, what typically happens is on the drop step, when I come here, I'm not creating space, bro. Like I've tried this against guys who are 220 pounds. I don't create space at all. What happens is I get them on my side, we create a little bit of contact shoulder to shoulder here, and I finish kind of with like a jump hook. So if you're a smaller guy and you want to use this, it absolutely works, right? We're here and you come up with something like that. I would suggest it's just doing like a modified hook shot like that, where at the very end, you're coming up, doing something like pop. We're creating contact. You might even, a lot of times the guys are so big that I kind of fade away because I don't have a choice. But as we come up, we block, put this hand up, and we're just shooting sort of modified hook shot a modified hook shot. A modified hook shot. I don't know why that's so hard for me to say. What I'm trying to say is the modified hook shot, the modified hook shot works really well down below after you do your drop step. If you're a smaller guy, if you're a bigger guy, obviously it works well too. But a lot of you bigger guys, when you come here and you pivot, you're just gonna have enough space to finish with a strong layup or a dunk. All right, now I'm gonna show you guys some fun variations that typically I'll use instead of the drop step because I'm a smaller guy. But yeah, let's go through them. So one we could do is we're here, pump fake this way, come around like that, and get them up that way. Another way we can do it is on our drop step, we're here, come up that way, fake that way, come through that way. We might push off, turn, pop, pump fake, switch hands. Thought I'd drop something out of my pocket there. And then of course you can, on the drop step, if you can come here, fake like that, and then come back that way. I would say probably out of all those variations, my favorite is this one here where we come over, pop, pump fake them that way, and step through like that. For whatever reason, I think it's because I'm smaller when I pivot, I don't create a lot of space, so people fall for that pump fake, and then I got the step through. All right, before we continue from how to transition the drop step from the post to the perimeter, I want to let you guys know that I created my own course on how to beat people in one-on-one basketball. If you like the way that I'm breaking down this drop step in a very kind of methodical and strategic way, you'll like my one-on-one course. There's a link below, a URL you can click. It'll take you to my course for a discounted rate. First 25 people to sign up get that discount. All right, let's move the drop step from the post out to the perimeter, and I'll show you how it works. So we take this move out to the perimeter. It's not really essentially the same drop step, but the footwork is very similar. It's gonna look something like this. We're pounding here, and then we just come like that. If we watch Chris Jackson do it, he usually goes here a lot, and then boom, when he's ready to go, he pounds the ball and he pivots. The same thing kind of happens though. This foot does come a little back if we want it to. So you'll notice it's pretty much the same footwork. It's just off the dribble, and we're not crossing a ton with this foot. We're usually just starting in this position, and as the defense comes over to steal the ball, we go. So real important, you notice that the guys that do this very well, like Zion and Chris Jackson, when they go here, as soon as we're pounding, that's the hardest part, is getting the timing right, because this defender's getting close, right? And you got to figure out the timing. So I would just practice doing a bunch of these, right? Where we're kind of drop stepping. And you'll notice as I'm spreading my legs for this move, that's when the ball hits the ground on this move. And I really like this because you can transition to a lot of things. I mean, I can fake there. You'll see Chris Jackson do that in the clip here where he's just sort of, he hits Steve Kerr with a drive like this first. Then the second time, he fakes him and Kerr's over there. Because Kerr has to follow for the fake because he just got beat. Something else I like about this is, if I go to hit this drop step, and for whatever reason, my defense is super quick, and he's anticipating that move, I can always come behind the back. Like, it's impossible to steal. It's a very safe move. By the time I turn my head, I see the defender here. Happens to me all the time because I'm slow now. I can just prop right behind the back. There's nothing they can do, right? It's a very tricky move. All right, now I want to show you guys a fun variation that's very similar to the drop step. It's not entirely a drop step, but it's something fun you can do. I'm hoping there's someone out there who can watch this move and then modify it to make it very dominating. All right, here's what the move looks like. My hamstring is killing me. So it's not as graceful as it could be on the other side. So really with this move, you know, on the drop step, how we plant this foot and we pivot here. Same with this drive. You plant with your inside foot. And what I found is I've been using this move in one-on-one, but what I found is, like, if the guy is in the right position and I hit this perfectly, a lot of times on that first step there, he's right here, and then on that second step, I'm pivoting, and we're shoulder to shoulder, and he's kind of on my side, and I can finish on the opposite side. All right, you guys, I hope you like that breakdown. That's the drop step one-on-one. Like I said, make sure you go through the footwork on that bad boy, because even today I still practice the footwork, because if you don't do it for a while, you forget it. So it's one of those things, just hammer out day after day after day after day until you really get it. And if you're a big man, this is a really big go-to move. You should have this in your arsenal. You should be using it a lot because it's a very powerful move. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next vid.